What if someone's hijacked your mind, squatting there, rent-free, like a thief you can't evict? An ex who shattered you, a crush who barely knows you exist, a stranger who brushed past but left a mark. They're stuck in your head. A relentless echo you can't mute, no matter how hard you try. You're grinding through your day, coffee in hand, deadlines looming, but there they are, crashing your thoughts like an uninvited ghost, stealing your peace with every flicker. It's maddening, isn't it? That nagging ache, that quiet torment. Why can't you shake them loose? This isn't some fluke. This isn't your heart just throwing a tantrum. Psychology and neuroscience scream it loud. When someone claws into your mind and won't let go, your brain's sounding an alarm you're ignoring at your peril. They're not just a memory, they're a signal, a riddle, a glitch in your wiring. And if you don't crack it, they'll keep ruling you from the shadows, pulling strings you didn't even know were there. The Stoics saw it coming centuries ago. Epictetus cut to the bone. You are not disturbed by things, but by the view you take of them. It's not them haunting you, it's your own mind twisting the knife, the stories you've spun, the wounds you've left gaping, the lessons you've dodged. We're ripping the lid off today. 10 raw, hidden reasons from psychology, neuroscience, and Stoic wisdom exposing why they're still camped in your skull. And better yet, how to kick them out for good. Stay till the end, and you'll not only see why they're lingering, but grab the reins to wrestle your thoughts back where they belong. Drop "I'm done letting ghosts run my mind" in the comments if you're ready to reclaim your headspace. Smash that like if this hits too close to home, share it with someone drowning in the same fog, and sub to Victory Stoic for more raw truth to master your mind. Why are they still there? Let's dig in and burn the mystery down. Number 1. Why can't you stop thinking about them? You've been there. Your mind keeps circling back to one person, whether it's an ex, a crush, or even someone you barely know. You tell yourself to move on, to focus on other things, but somehow they keep showing up, uninvited, like a song stuck in your head. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, believed this isn't random. When someone occupies your thoughts persistently, it's not just about love, attraction, or obsession. It's a signal. Your subconscious trying to show you something important about yourself. Maybe it's unresolved emotions. Maybe it's a lesson you haven't learned. Maybe they represent something you desire, fear, or refuse to acknowledge. The truth? It's not really about them. It's about you. A person you admire? They might reflect a hidden ambition or trait you secretly wish to develop. A person who irritates you? They could represent a part of yourself that you haven't fully accepted. Someone you can't let go of. They might symbolize an unhealed wound or an aspect of your past you haven't made peace with. You see, you're not truly thinking about them. You're confronting yourself. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that different people haunt your mind at different points in life? The ones who linger aren't always the most important. They're the ones who reflect something back at you. An ex that won't leave your head? Maybe they embody a part of you that still needs healing. A crush you barely know? Maybe they represent a version of yourself you're trying to become. Even someone who hurt you deeply? They might still be there because you haven't fully faced what their presence revealed. The lesson: the person you think about the most is often a mirror, reflecting an unseen part of your subconscious. Instead of asking, "Why can't I stop thinking about them?" ask, "What part of myself do they represent?" Because once you understand that, they lose their hold on you. Number 2. Your shadow is speaking. Jung's theory of the hidden self. You think you're obsessed with them, but what if it's not really about them at all? What if the reason they haunt your thoughts isn't because of who they are, but because of what they reveal about you? Carl Jung called it the shadow, the hidden part of your mind where you store everything you don't want to acknowledge about yourself. The weaknesses you deny, the fears you ignore, the desires you suppress. And when someone lingers in your thoughts, it's often because they reflect that shadow back at you. Take Leo, for example. He couldn't stop thinking about his ex. She wasn't even particularly kind to him, but something about her stuck in his head. Then one day, he realized it wasn't her he missed. It was the way he felt when he was with her. She was bold, confident, unapologetic. She did things he never dared to do. And that's when it hit him. He wasn't obsessed with her. he was obsessed with the part of himself he had never allowed to exist. The same thing happens in reverse. Ever find yourself absolutely hating someone, not just disliking them, but feeling irrationally irritated by their mere existence? Look closer. That person might embody something you fear in yourself. The arrogant coworker, the reckless friend, the person who never follows the rules. Sometimes the people who bother us the most are the ones who reflect the traits we refuse to accept in ourselves. Jung believed that until we integrate our shadow, until we face the hidden parts of our mind, we will keep projecting them onto others. That's why certain people get under your skin while others don't. That's why you can't stop thinking about them. They are mirrors showing you what you need to confront within yourself. The Stoics had a different way of saying the same thing. A man disturbed by another is really disturbed by himself, wrote an ancient Stoic whose name has been lost to time. But the wisdom remains. Your emotions are never truly about the outside world. They are about how you interpret it. So what do you do with this realization? You stop asking, why can't I stop thinking about them? And start asking, what do they reveal about me? Are they a version of yourself you fear, a version you desire, a lesson you need to learn? Because the moment you face your shadow, you stop running from yourself. And the moment you stop running from yourself, no one, no ex, no crush, no fleeting stranger can control your mind again. Number 3, you're projecting your desires onto them. Ever find yourself replaying that one person in your head, like a movie you can't pause, painting them as the hero you wish you could be, or the villain you secretly fear you are? Maybe it's that coworker who's always cool under pressure, or an ex who seemed to have it all together. They're stuck in your mind, not because of who they are, but because of what you've draped over them. You're not just thinking about them, you're staring into a mirror you've hung their face on, and it's pulling you in deeper every time they flash across your thoughts. This isn't random daydreaming. It's your brain playing a trick called projection, a concept Carl Jung unpacked like a locked chest in the attic of your psyche. Picture Tara, 29, a graphic designer. She can't stop obsessing over her old college friend, Mia, who's now jetting around the world, posting dazzling Instagram shots. Tara sighs, Mia's so free, and her mind spirals. Mia laughing on a beach, Mia sipping wine in Paris. But here's the twist. Tara's not really stuck on Mia. She's stuck on the freedom she craves, the wild life she's too scared to chase. Every thought of Mia stings, a quiet ache she can't shake. Or take Leo, 42, a mechanic. He's haunted by his ex-boss, Ray, a guy who barked orders and strutted like he owned the place. Leo grits his teeth. Ray was such a jerk, replaying every smug smirk. But deep down, Leo's projecting his own buried wish to stand tall, to command a room. He hates Ray because he sees a louder echo of himself he's never dared to let loose. Jung nailed it. Projection happens when you fling your own desires, fears, or flaws onto someone else, turning them into a canvas for what's bubbling inside you. Neuroscience backs this. Your brain's prefrontal cortex, the planner, teams up with the amygdala, the emotion hub, to spotlight what you're yearning for or dodging. Tara's longing for freedom? It's dopamine firing when she imagines Mia's life, wiring her to fixate. Leo's resentment? It's his brain wrestling with a suppressed urge, looping Ray's face as a stand-in. You're not obsessed with them. You're tangled in what they reflect, a ghost of your own making. The Stoics cut through the haze. Seneca said, see things as they are, not as your illusions paint them. Tara's not pining for Mia's passport. She's pining for her own wings. Leo's not chained to Ray's shadow. He's chained to his own unclaimed strength. They're in your head because you've dressed them up in your unmet dreams or buried shames. And until you peel that off, they'll keep haunting you. Science nods. Studies like those from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology show we obsess over people who mirror traits we're wrestling with. Admiration or resentment lights the same neural fire. Here's the Stoic fix. Stop staring at the projection and face the screen. Tara could swap Mia's so free for I'm building my own path. Start small, book a weekend trip, feel her own breeze. Leo could ditch Ray's a jerk for I'm owning my space. Stand firm next call, watch the loop fade. Next time they hijack your head, pause. Ask, what am I pinning on them? A want, a wound? Say it out loud. This is mine, not theirs. And strip the illusion bare. No shrink needed, just a hard look and they're gone. Tara's sketching her own horizon now. Leo's wrench spins with swagger. They don't own your mind, you do. See the truth, ditch the mirage, and take it back. Number 4. They made a strong first impression, and your brain won't let it go. You barely knew them. Maybe it was a fleeting conversation, a passing glance, or a single unforgettable moment, but for some reason they left a mark. While logic tells you to move on, your brain refuses to let go. Why? Because your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for emotional memory, holds on to moments that feel intense, surprising, or meaningful. It doesn't care about logic. It doesn't ask whether this person truly matters in your life. It simply locks in the memory and keeps replaying it. Ever met someone who instantly made you feel something? Maybe their confidence caught you off guard. Maybe their energy was so magnetic it threw you off balance. Maybe they insulted you, embarrassed you, or challenged you in a way that shook your identity. Whatever it was, they triggered something deep, and your brain took a snapshot. The Stoics warned about this centuries ago. An impression is not the truth, wrote an unknown Stoic philosopher. Just because something feels important doesn't mean it is. Your brain will trick you into believing that a strong emotion equals deep meaning. But the reality? Many of these obsessions are nothing more than mental echoes of a moment that hit you harder than expected. Take Amelia, for example. She met a man at a party who made one brilliant, witty remark, and for weeks, she couldn't stop thinking about him. Not because he was special, not because they had a deep connection, but because in that one moment, he left a vivid mark on her subconscious. Her amygdala stored it away, replayed it, and tricked her into believing he mattered more than he actually did. The same happens with negative emotions. Someone insults you, embarrasses you, or makes you feel small. Your brain locks onto it, convincing you that this person is significant, when really, they're just another passing figure in your life. So how do you break free? Recognize that your brain is not always telling you the truth. Just because you can't stop thinking about someone doesn't mean they are important. It just means your mind grabbed onto an intense moment and won't let it go. And once you see that, they lose their power over you. Number 5. Your emotions are hooked and your brain is addicted. You don't just remember them, you feel them. Their presence in your mind isn't passive, it comes with a rush of emotion, excitement, longing, regret, pain. Whether it's love or hate, admiration or resentment, one thing is clear, they trigger something powerful in you. This isn't random, this is chemistry. Every time you think about them, your brain releases dopamine, the same neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure, addiction, and motivation. If the memory is good, your brain romanticizes them. If the memory is painful, your brain replays it, convincing you that resolution is needed. Either way, the loop continues, trapping you in a cycle where thinking about them becomes self-reinforcing. Science explains it, but the Stoics mastered it. One of the lost Stoic fragments states, "An emotion persists only as long as you feed it." The more you dwell on them, the stronger the attachment grows. Not because they are important, but because you keep reinforcing the connection. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that the people who affect you the most are often tied to moments of extreme happiness or extreme pain? The ex you can't forget? Likely because your best and worst memories are tied to them. The friend who betrayed you? Their presence in your mind isn't about them, it's about the wound they left behind. Take Ben, for example. He thought he was in love with his ex, but when he really examined his emotions, he realized he wasn't addicted to her. He was addicted to the highs and lows she brought. The unpredictability, the emotional roller coaster, it wired his brain for obsession. Here's the truth. Your emotions are not reality. Your brain is designed to latch on to what feels intense. But you have a choice. You don't have to let those feelings dictate your thoughts. You can starve the emotion, weaken the attachment, and break free. The lesson: the reason they still haunt your mind is not because they are special, but because your brain has been trained to associate them with emotional spikes. The more you recognize this, the more power you regain. Because in the end, it's not them you're attached to, it's the feeling. And feelings, they can be replaced. Number 6. You compare your life with them, and that's why they linger. You don't just think about them, you measure your life against them. Where you were when they were around versus where you are now. the excitement, the emotions, the version of yourself that existed in that time. And because your brain loves patterns, it keeps pulling you back, making comparisons, refusing to let go. This is human nature. Your brain doesn't just remember, it contrasts. Psychologists call this comparative evaluation, the way your mind constantly checks the past to make sense of the present. If your life feels dull now, your brain will glorify the past. If you haven't found something new to fill the gap, your mind will default to what's familiar. And that person, they become a mental placeholder, simply because you haven't replaced them with something better. The Stoics warned against this trap centuries ago. Live only in today, a lesser-known Stoic philosopher wrote. The past is an illusion, distorted by nostalgia. The future is unknown. The only truth is what you do right now. But right now, your brain is still clinging to a past version of yourself. Maybe it wasn't even better, just more intense, more defined. You weren't just thinking about them, you were thinking about who you were when they were in your life. Take Sarah, for example. She couldn't stop thinking about an old friend. Not because the friendship was perfect, but because in that time she felt more alive. They went on wild adventures, laughed until sunrise, and lived without caution. But the truth? It wasn't about the friend. It was about what that friendship represented. And that's where the solution lies. If you keep looking backward, it means your present isn't giving you something worth looking forward to. The lesson. The reason they still haunt your mind isn't because they're irreplaceable. It's because you haven't replaced them. Fill your present with new experiences, new connections, new meaning, and watch how quickly they fade. Because the past only holds power when the present feels empty. Number 7. Their rejection haunts you, because your brain treats it like physical pain. Rejection doesn't just sting, it burns. It lingers in your mind, replaying itself over and over like a wound that won't close. And the worst part? Your brain treats it the same way it treats physical pain. Studies using fMRI scans show that social rejection activates the same neural pathways as a physical injury. The brain doesn't distinguish between a broken heart and a broken bone. It registers both as a threat to survival. Why? Because in ancient times, being rejected from a group meant one thing: death. Your ancestors had to belong to a tribe to stay alive. Rejection was dangerous. And even though modern rejection won't kill you, your brain still reacts as if it could. That's why you keep thinking about them. Not because they were special, but because your brain is wired to find a solution to the pain. It's trying to protect you, scanning the memory over and over, searching for what went wrong, how to fix it, how to avoid it in the future. But here's the truth. There is nothing to fix. Their opinion of you is not reality. Their rejection does not define you. Epictetus put it best. If someone speaks ill of you, do not defend yourself. Your life is your answer. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You only need to recognize that their rejection is just that, their decision, based on their perspective, their limitations, their world. It is not a reflection of your worth. Take Jason, for example. He was ghosted by someone he truly cared about. At first, he thought he missed her, but after some self-reflection, he realized he was chasing closure. He wasn't longing for her presence. He was trying to undo the sting of rejection. But once he understood that closure isn't given, it's created, she lost her hold on him. The lesson. Your brain sees rejection as a threat, but you are not your brain's outdated survival instincts. You are more than someone's opinion, more than a moment of rejection. The next time their memory resurfaces, remind yourself, it wasn't you that was rejected. It was their perception of you. And their perception is not your truth. Number 8. Anima and Animus. They are a part of you. Why are you so drawn to them? Why does their presence, or even just their memory, hold so much power over you? Maybe it's not attraction, not love, not even obsession. Maybe it's recognition. Carl Jung believed that inside every man lies a hidden feminine essence, Anima, and inside every woman, a hidden masculine force, Animus. These are not just abstract ideas. They are unexplored aspects of your own personality. And when you find yourself irresistibly drawn to someone, it may be because they reflect a part of you that you have yet to embrace. That's why some people don't just intrigue you. They haunt you. They pull at something deep within, something you feel but don't fully understand. It's not just about them. It's about what they represent in you. A man captivated by a certain woman? She may embody the emotional depth, creativity, or intuition that he has yet to express within himself. A woman fixated on a particular man? He might reflect the assertiveness, strength, or decisiveness that she has yet to fully own. It's why you can't shake them from your mind. They are not separate from you. They are a mirror. The Stoics had their own version of this truth. One lost Stoic fragment reads, "That which captivates you, you must ask, what within me recognizes it?" In other words, your attraction is never just about the other person. It's about the undiscovered parts of yourself. Think about it. Have you ever been fascinated by someone, not because of what they did, but because of how they made you feel about yourself? Like they unlocked something in you that was always there, but had never been touched. That's the Anima and Animus at work. Take David, for example. He was obsessed with a woman he barely knew. She had a mysterious energy, a depth he couldn't explain. Then he realized it wasn't her he was drawn to. It was the part of himself that she awakened. She moved with a quiet confidence, spoke with deep intuition, qualities that his own soul was craving to develop. The lesson: if you can't stop thinking about someone, don't just ask what makes them special. Ask what they reveal about you. What qualities do they have that you may have neglected in yourself? What do they awaken in you that you have yet to embrace? Because the moment you integrate that missing piece into your own life, you no longer need them to complete you. Number 9, they left you with an unanswered question. Ever find yourself trapped in a mental loop, replaying that one person like a song stuck on repeat, because something about them just won't add up? Maybe it's the ex who vanished without a word, or that friend who cut you off mid-sentence and never circled back. They're a puzzle you can't solve, a cliffhanger your brain keeps rewinding. You're brushing your teeth, minding your own business when, bam, they're back, tugging at you like a loose thread you can't snip. This isn't just nostalgia, it's your mind clawing at a blank space they left behind, a question mark they scribbled and walked away from, leaving you dangling in the fog. Take Maya, 31, a bartender. She's pouring shots, wiping counters, but her thoughts keep drifting to Jake, her old fling. He ghosted her after 3 months, no text, no note, just poof, gone. Why'd he leave, she mutters, and it's a splinter she can't pull out. Did she say something? Was he cheating? Every shift, her mind spins. Jake laughing over beers, Jake dodging her last call, because that unanswered why is a hook sunk deep. Or picture Sam, 45, a truck driver. He's hauling freight, radio crackling, but his head stuck on his cousin, Lila. They argued last Christmas, she stormed out, and they haven't spoken since. What did I do wrong, he wonders, replaying her slammed door, her icy glare. The road stretches, but his brain's a hamster wheel. Lila's laugh, Lila's silence, because the gap she left is an itch he can't scratch. Here's the twist. Your brain hates a mystery. Psychology calls it the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished business sticks like glue. A 2016 study in cognitive psychology found unresolved questions light up your anterior cingulate cortex, the part that screams, "Figure this out," keeping them on a loop till you crack it. Maya's "Why'd he leave?" isn't just hurt, it's her neurons firing, desperate to fill the blank. Sam's "What went wrong?" isn't just regret, it's his brain clawing at the void, replaying clues like a detective with no case closed. They're in your head because they left a riddle, and your mind's a bloodhound, sniffing for answers it might never get. The Stoics saw through this mess. Seneca sliced it sharp. Don't chase what's beyond your reach. Maya's chasing Jake's ghost for a why she'll never hear. Sam's chasing Lila's forgiveness for a fight that's dust. That unanswered question isn't yours to solve. It's theirs to carry. And until you drop it, they've got your mind on a leash. Science backs the strain. Unresolved tension spikes cortisol, fogging your focus while letting go calms the storm. You're not stuck on them. You're stuck on the blank they left, and it's draining you dry. Here's the Stoic move: quit the chase. Maya could swap "Why'd he go?" for "I'm done guessing." Shut the script, pour her shots, let the fog lift. Sam could ditch "What I do?" for "I've moved on." Steer his rig, crank the tunes, leave the silence behind. Next time they creep in, stop, ask, "Is this mine to answer?" If not, say that's their load. Loud, firm, picture it fading. No detective badge needed, just one hard cut and they're out. Maya's slinging drinks with a smirk now. Sam's rolling free, road wide open. They don't get to hog your headspace. Cut the thread, own your peace. Number 10. Unravel the ghost in your mind. 3 steps to crack why they won't leave. What if that person looping through your head isn't just a stubborn shadow? What if they're a flare your mind's firing, a riddle begging to be solved? You're not crazy, and it's not random. Someone's stuck there, haunting your every quiet moment, because your brain's screaming a truth you haven't faced. Don't shove it down. Rip it open. Here's how to decode the noise and turn their echo into your power. First, pin down the feeling. Next time they crash your thoughts, stop. What hits you? A warm glow of awe? A bitter sting of envy? A hollow pang of regret? A restless itch you can't name? That emotion isn't noise, it's a spotlight blazing on something buried deep. Are they a mirror you're dodging? If their confidence dazzles you, is it because you're starving to stand that tall yourself? If their coldness claws at you, are they echoing a flaw you've tucked away, pretending it's not yours? If their memory burns, did they rip open a scar you've been bandaging too long? Your heart's spilling clues. Listen hard. Then, dig into the why you've got the spark. Now chase the fire. What's this feeling whispering about you? If they're a hero in your eyes, is your life missing a piece you've been too scared to claim? If they left you shattered, did they kick a crack that was there before they ever showed up? If they're everywhere, on the radio, in a stranger's laugh, is your mind begging for a finale or a lesson you've skipped? The Stoics saw it raw. One lost fragment whispers, "He who's rattled by another must first ask, what in me lets it rattle?" They're not the storm, you are, and your perception's the wind whipping it wild. Finally, turn it into fuel. Forgetting them won't kill the obsession. Learning from them will. If they shine with a strength you crave, steal it. Build it in your bones, step by step. If they tore you open, quit running. Stare that wound down, stitch it up, strip its grip. If they're a ghost that won't fade, ask, is it them or the you that danced in their orbit? Act on it, because the only way out is through. They're not your jailer, they're your teacher. And once you snag the lesson, their shadow lifts. The truth that frees you. You don't banish them by clawing at the void. You set them loose by cracking what they mean. When the message sinks in, the weight falls off, and your mind's yours again. They're not the puzzle. You are. Solve it, and they're gone. Conclusion: reclaim your mind and unleash your might. What if the ghost you thought was them was never real? What if the true specter haunting you was your own shadow, a lesson you've dodged, a piece of yourself left raw, a scar still bleeding beneath the surface? They didn't chain your thoughts. Your mind did, clutching them tight for a reason it's begging you to hear. Your subconscious isn't playing tricks. It's sounding a horn, desperate to jolt you awake. This isn't about them lingering. It's about you, unfinished, waiting to rise. Marcus Aurelius carved it into stone. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength isn't a gift. It's a conquest, forged when you crack open the why behind their echo. They're not the anchor holding you down. They're a mirror, reflecting truths you've sidestepped too long. Your thoughts were never theirs to command. They're yours, screaming for you to see. And here's the fire of it. Once you seize the lesson they've dragged into the light, once you weld it into your bones, their shadow slips, their weight crumbles, and your mind breaks free. So stand still now and face it. What did they throw back at you in that relentless gleam? A hunger you've buried? A weakness you've masked? A fight you fled? What lesson's been clawing at your skull through their face? And how can you grab that restless spark, twist it, shape it, forge it into something that lifts you higher, harder, fiercer? Because when you do, they stop being a phantom. They turn into a rung on the ladder to a you that nothing can shake. Now's your shot. Drop "I take back control of my mind" in the comments if you're done letting the past squat in your headspace. Hit that like if this sliced through the noise, fling it to a friend still tangled in their own ghosts, and lock in with Victory Stoic for more raw, unrelenting truth to sharpen your edge. Your mind's not their playground, it's your fortress. Storm it back, claim it, and wield it like the force it was always meant to be.